I've been teaching English as a second language for about 10 years now. My first meeting with students always goes like this. Can you help me reduce my accent? In most cases, it's really not a reduction of a student's accent that they're looking for. The outcome is improved communication skills, to learn and utilize small talk, to speak in the business world, to give presentations or speak in public, to increase their vocabulary. Now, these are no small feats. They do take time and effort. But one of the first things I like to do with my students is what I consider to be an assessment. I'll pick an article, a news story, related to something the student is very familiar with. Then I'll have the student read that article. As the student is reading that article, I'm taking notes of words that aren't being enunciated correctly. After about 15 or 20 minutes of reading, I've got a good idea of which patterns or which sounds aren't being enunciated correctly. But next, we want to go over those sounds. Let's just make sure it wasn't nervousness or just a slip of the tongue. So we'll validate. Sometimes it's consonants, trailing or medial consonant sounds that aren't being enunciated correctly. Or it could be T's, D's, L's, or R's. In most cases, it's only a few sounds. And this is because in your native language, which you speak very, very well, you're familiar with those sounds. You've been speaking them for many years. Your vocal folds, your facial muscles are used to producing those sounds. English has different sounds. English also doesn't use nasal sounds. So if your language has sounds that English doesn't have, or more aptly put, if English has sounds you're not used to, you're going to have trouble with those. So at the end of the assessment, what I do is I take the student through a couple of exercises or tongue twisters or stories, and I'll have the student read a tongue twister, which is more or less a large poem. They don't always make a lot of sense, but they focus on a couple of different sounds. So for example, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood focuses on different sounds than she sells seashells by the seashore. Now, the reason for doing these exercises is it helps you engage muscles around your mouth and your tongue in ways that you're not used to doing it. Just as you train for going on a marathon or working at the gym, you want to train for these new sounds, and these tongue twisters will greatly help you with your English sound enunciation. Now, this is a little difficult to do by yourself. If you have a native English-speaking friend, let them help you through this. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you a couple of different tongue twisters that you can try yourself. These tongue twisters will focus on certain sounds. For example, one sound that a lot of students have trouble with is the TH sound. For example, this, that, these. To many, it comes across as a D sound. D's, dis, and dat. So I have a really good tongue twister for that. So, for example, this tongue twister will help you focus on the TH sound. It also has the ED suffix. The ED suffix causes a lot of trouble, especially for those who are Portuguese speakers, because students like to say, for example, the word worked, worked. Well, the ED suffix has 3 different distinct sounds. As in the word printed, it's id, printed. So following a T or D, it has the id sound. Or, as in worked, it has the T sound. Thundered has the D sound. So let me read this tongue twister to you. Something in a 30-acre thermal thicket of thorns and thistles thumped and thundered, threatening the 3D thoughts of Matthew the Thug. Although Theatrically, it was only the 13,000 thistles and thorns through the underneath of his thigh that the 30-year-old thug thought of that morning. So T, D sounds, TH sounds. That's what this one focuses on. So if I do an assessment with a student of mine, and that student has trouble with the TH sound, I'm going to walk the student through this test. Sorry, I'll walk the student through this tongue twister. We'll do it a few times until the student is familiar with it. Then I'll give the student an assignment to do this at least 3 times a day for no more than a couple of minutes. When you wake up, when you go to bed, and sometime midday. I want to share with you one more tongue twister. She sells seashells by the seashore. The shells she sells are surely seashells. So if she sells shells on the seashore, I'm sure she sells seashore shells. No matter how many sounds a student has trouble with, I never start them off with more than 2 exercises. It becomes too much. It becomes, well, a student might become disillusioned. This is becoming too difficult. Start off with 2, practice it 3 times a day. And I can guarantee to you, if you do this, within 2 to 4 weeks, you're going to notice a difference. And the key is, as you notice when I was speaking, I move my lips. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But that's what we do when we exercise. It's all about form. It's about doing it correctly. Don't watch a lot of TV and movie shows to learn how to enunciate. Even myself, when I'm not in front of the camera, when I'm not teaching, I become a little lazy. And instead of saying words like this, mountain, I might say mountain. I soften my T's. I soften my trailing and medial consonants. But because I'm a native English speaker talking with other native English speakers, we understand each other. Because English is not your native language, you need to try harder than us. Don't copy our laziness. Because an accent acts as a bit of noise in the communication cycle. So you want to enunciate your consonants. Don't be afraid to do so. Now, if you do have a teacher to help you with this, or a friend, you don't need to meet them every day of the week to have them help you with this. Once a week as a coaching session is sufficient. If you're having trouble remembering how the teacher enunciated a sound, bring up Google Translate. There's also a bunch of apps you can download. Google Translate is close enough that it'll help you if you've forgotten how to enunciate a particular word. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please go ahead and click like and subscribe. Your subscribes help keep this channel going. If you would like notifications of future videos, please go ahead and click the alert icon up top, and that will send you notifications whenever I release a new video. Thank you. We'll see you soon.